Hi everyone, so for today's look I thought I'd do something a little bit different, adding some colour as I'm such a neutral girl usually. So I've gone for a Lilac Smoky Glam, but still very wearable. So firstly I'm taking my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer and applying it all over the lids as a base for my eyeshadow. I get a lot of messages asking me why I use concealer instead of like an eyeshadow primer. I like to use concealer for heavier eye looks, as you really want that colour to pay off as much as possible. And that's also why I'm not going to powder over this concealer either in this look, because I do want that eyeshadow to pop. Another reason why I like using concealer is because it masks out all of my discoloration, because I'm so fair, I've got a lot of redness on my eyelids too. So the eyeshadow palette that I used for all of this look was the 24A Artist palette from Morphe, and the first colour that I'm going to be taking is called Stage Persona, and we're using this as our transition shade, but you really want to build this up really slowly instead of packing it all on at once. It took me about a good 3 minutes to build this shade up. And as you can see, I'm blending out as usual into that winged shape and connecting it to the outer corner. So you really want it all to be very smooth. So next I'm taking the shade Major Inspo. This is just a deeper purple, and I'm applying that to more of my outer V. I'm just going to focus in that area and winging it out again. I am just slightly bringing it into the crease too, but not much, just really slightly to help blend. So next you want to take a concealer on a small flat brush, quite a precise brush, because you want to apply this like you would when you're doing a cut crease. You just want to carve out from the inner corner to about midway of the eyes, but you really want that to be blended throughout the middle. You want it to be a bit more precise in the inner corner and then really softly blended in the middle. So for the shimmer, I'm taking the shade Secret Set and applying this again with a flat brush, and then I'm also using my fingers to get more of the product on there. And then you want to take a clean brush and blend the purple into the shimmer. This will just help create a seamless blend. So after the shadow is on, I'm then applying the shade Major Inspo, which was the second purple shade we used, the deeper one, and that is just to deepen up the outer corners again, but just focusing on the outer corner. So to intensify the look slightly and add a smoky lash line, I'm taking the shade Seek shade, which is like a deep plum, and I'm applying that just to the outer lash line and smoking it out with a smaller buffing brush. So after applying some mascara to my natural lashes, I'm taking some Doll Beauty lashes, which are called Flinny, and I'm just going to apply them. And then just clean up my wing with a baby wipe. So I've just taken my Kiehl's Creamy Avocado Eye Cream, and I'm just going to let that set in whilst I do my eyebrows. So I'm taking the Morphe Brow Pot, which is my favourite brow gel to use. I do really like the Anastasia one as well, but I think the Morphe one is just so much more affordable and gives me the same effect really. So I'm using a really thin angled brush. You want to make sure this is as thin as possible to get really fine hair strokes. So I'm just going in with the Shimmering Skin Perfector from Becca Cosmetics, and I'm using this as my base underneath my foundation. This is my favourite primer to use if you want that really glowy look. If you do have oilier skin, you can just use a little bit of this instead of caking it on like I have. So for today's foundation, I'm using the Huda Beauty Forks filter, I think that's what it's called. And I'm applying with a brush and blending in with a damp beauty blender like normal. This is definitely more of a full coverage foundation and gives you more of a semi-matte finish. So I wouldn't say it's matte, but it's definitely not glowy. And that's why I added the primer underneath, to get that glow to shine through. So going in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer again, I'm just going to apply this in areas I want to highlight and then blend out with my damp beauty blender, once again really pressing into my skin. You want to make sure that it's not too wet, and you also want to make sure it's not too dry, because it will just take up most of the concealer or leave patches on the skin. So you want to go in with the cream contour now. I'm using the Fit Me concealer, but I also really love the LA Girl concealers for this as well. They're just really creamy, not too thick, and really easy to blend. I'm applying this where I want to contour, so cheekbones and down the bridge of my nose. Sorry, down the sides of my nose. Make sure if you're going to contour your nose, you're using a really small, precise brush. Something that's not going to leave a really thick line down the side of your nose, because it's really hard to blend. So then before I start my baking, I always like to set under the eyes and down the side of my mouth. I just find it helps the loose powder from sticking to any areas and clogging onto any areas. It just goes on a lot smoother. So now I'm baking with a damp beauty blender again, the same one as I used before. I didn't redamp it. I'm also just carving out under my cheekbones and just that winged out shadow. It's just going to make everything look more crisp and contoured. So whilst that is sat baking, I'm going back in with the first shade we used called Stage Persona and buffing that quite, not messily, but I'm not doing this so precise. I want it quite smoky underneath the eye. And then going in with the shade Major Inspo, the slightly darker one, and applying that to the outer corner. So for the waterline, I'm not actually going to use a liner today. I'm going back in with the shimmery shade and pressing that onto the lash line, the waterline, with a flat brush. It's not going to be intense, it's just going to give a soft shimmer to that waterline, which I think looks really pretty. So after dusting away the baking powder, I'm just going to go in again with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter Powder. Just apply that on top of the areas I've just baked. It really does just smooth out the skin and give a flawless finish. So now to warm up the skin, I'm just taking a matte bronzer. This is one from NYX, and I'm just applying this in the areas I applied my contour. This is also going to set that contour as well. So everybody that knows me knows that I absolutely just love blusher. I absolutely pack it on. This is definitely one of my favourite blushes to use at the moment. It's called Life's a Peach and it's from L'Oreal. It does have a subtle shimmer to it, and I do think peach looks best with purple tones. So for highlighter, I'm just taking my Doll Beauty Duo palette and I'm mixing both of these shades. And I'm applying it to where I'd like to highlight, so top of the cheekbones, underneath the brow bone, inner corner highlight, tip of my nose and the Cupid's bow. So to line my lips, I'm taking the Urban Decay lip liner in shade Naked 2, and I'm applying this just slightly over the lip line as well, and then topping it off with London Lip Cream from NYX. So for gloss, I'm taking the Kiko gloss in shade Chestnut, and this is probably my favourite gloss of all time. It's kind of like a nudie brown but not too brown. And then to finish the look off, I'm just spritzing my face with the Vitamin E face spray from Superdrug. And there we have the finished look. So I really hope you enjoyed this look because I really enjoyed filming it. It's something a bit different for me, but I'm going to start getting a bit more creative, I think, for the next few looks. Let me know what else you'd like to see next, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.